What's up, everyone?
God damn it, slowly. I can't watch it. Alright, map number 3 and 4 as we get this ready to go. We'll start off with Maru in the top right. Bottom left will be Scarlett. It's 1-1 right now between the two teams. Let's see if Maru can take Team NV up to match point, which I think a lot of people are expecting. Let's see if Scarlett can steal a map to keep this series extremely competitive. Rex building up at the front here. The hatchery building in the natural expansion of Scarlett as well. Getting that set up as we get this underway. Big game for Scarlett. She really has struggled a lot against the Terran players in this league. You know, I think she had to play Innovation right. She also had to play... Did she have to play TY as well? She had to play Innovation, got 2-0'd there. The week after they played... No, that's when she played Stats that week. There was another matchup that she played in that was against a Terran that wasn't good for... Maybe I'm just making this up, actually. Oh, yeah, against Cure in week 5 against DPG, yeah. So it's been a couple of times in this league that, again, specifically against the Korean Terrans, against Coffee, she looked good. She won that series 2-0. But against the Korean Terrans has just been that little bit weaker, not quite as strong. So, you know, something to keep in mind, something to watch out for. As we get set up into game number 1 of this best of 2. Again, game 3 of this overall best of 7. Maru just going to open racks and a factory coming in. Getting this ready to go. So getting that started up right now. Strong coming out down the south. 2000 Atmospheres, nice larger map as well. Definitely one where we've seen a little bit of mech play even happen in recent times on this map, in this matchup. BC openings and stuff like that. Starport building in that main base. Just going to be seeing the link speed starting up, moving along. Just going to be seeing a Hellion and a couple of Marines just coming through, chasing down the Zergling. Nothing really too exciting. Does someone tell me what the announcement actually is? Because I kind of want to talk about it, but I don't know what they actually announced. And all I see is slowly spamming stuff in capital letters. But too quickly to read. You guys talking about maps? So they announced the map thing now? Is that what it is? Did they announce the map event? No one wants to tell me? Cool. Okay, then they're not good. Well, I guess just don't care then. Alright, I'll just have to keep on casting the game. Feels bad, man. Alright, so, couple of Hellions just gonna get pulled back in toward that natural a little bit. We'll have Marines unloading a couple into the main. This medevac coming down the bottom side. So again, Maru getting a little aggressive with a few of these Marines. A little bit of a funky way to open. Marines unloading that Overlord, taking a good little bit of damage. As these other Marines continue to move on forward, the Queens are there to deflect that medevac though, turn that back around. As the Marines going to go and get lifted up again, so additional reinforcements coming through. The BC on the way from Maru. Like I said initially, this is a map where you can play a bit more mechy, or sometimes a BC opening. Now this is BC into double gas, so it definitely feels as though we are going to be seeing some mechy out of Maru, and that's actually kind of cool, because I wonder if Scarlett fares a little bit better against the Terran mech than she has done against that Terran bio, again, you know, from the Korean Terrans in the previous weeks. Be kind of cool to see, as right now needs to make sure she's got defenses ready for this little Marine Hellion force, though. These are the kind of things that can throw you off so much early game. It's just a weird little bit of poking and prodding that Maru is up to at the moment. One Marine nibbling away at that Overlord, so some damage being done at the moment here, putting some damage out. Just going to see that BC teleporting back into the back of the main base. Again, that up and running again. Hellions and Marines pushing through the center, taking down a couple of creep tumors. BC is there to put some damage out as well. Still got some other units around the bottom side, so got the Hellions and Marines looking to see what they can maybe do. BC is looking to try and get that Overlord. Queen's going to turn around for the transfusion. I'm just going to see the rest of this army continue to move on through here. So Ling's taking some damage, the Queen's taking some hits. We're not going to see this army getting on top of that hatchery. So the hatch taking some extra damage as well. Now we're going to be seeing, and how is so much being done with just Hellion Marine in this early game? The fact BCs are going to show up and make life a misery for Scarlett as well is just an added like something for Maru here. And it feels like Scarlett is already in a bit of trouble. I mean, okay, this BC comes back in, it's already a bit bruised up, but is that really going to be enough to stop this? Because again, you're having to pull all those Queens out to defend on the third base, so the reason Maru is back is because, you know, the Queen's are out of position. So it's been a really fun, active game. Scarlett playing into 1-1 Roaches, but also Spire, knowing that this is mech, expecting more than just the one BC, and knowing Corruptors against that are somewhat of a necessity. Lings thinking about running in toward the natural expansion there. They do not, as a few of those Lings get chipped away and pushed away. More Corruptors still on the way through here. Our missile upgrades, our roach speed, all of this continuing for the moment. So I'm pretty good across the board for Scott in terms of preparation against playing, you know, versus mech now. I'm still just worried about how much this early game got done. Scott's supply has stayed pretty good, but it's not like she's up to 80 workers already. She's on 67. And that's just a little bit lower than where you'd really want to be, right? Because, you know, if you're up at like 80 workers, you can really afford to start maxing out, trading, maxing out again. At 67, you can't really do that. And she is slowly working up to that number, just prioritizing Corruptors and stuff at the moment, which also isn't necessarily a bad idea. Deal with these BCs. Just feels like because of the early game pressure, that's what stopped her getting up to that kind of super high drone count right away, as BCs do just teleport home. And more BCs still in production as well here for Maru. Corruptors, Roaches, and Lings back around the top side. That's going to be seeing the Roach Ravager production continuing to gain here from Scarlett. Again, that started up all over again. Keeping it going. I mean, she's about to max out. Obviously, Cyclones have that mag field. What's important for Maru is that tank production has started, so there is going to be some kind of splash damage across the map. This isn't just going to be left to the Cyclones to try and save the day. Cyclones alone definitely don't do enough here, especially without mag field being done as well. So you do need those siege tanks up. I'll have a look at what Maru's setup back at home looks like exactly in a moment when they go back here. Man, there's a lot of turrets. There's a lot of spread out stuff. I like it a lot. Little run by gets into the natural though, so Scarlett makes her way in over there. Now the Corruptor's going to start diving forward, jumping onto these BCs. The first one's going to go down. Didn't teleport away in time. Scarlett's going to continue forward here. And right now, Scarlett is pushing through Maru's base. Maru's supply is absolutely plummeting. And Scarlett's looking for the upset. Pushing into the natural expansion now. One tank stands between her and the main base. Another one just spawned, but she's going to run in anyway. Okay, the BCs are a bit of a problem. How much can Scarlett clean up here? Maru is starting to get a cleanup on this army. Roach Ravager trying to come on through. The last Corruptor goes down. The tanks in the main are going to hold, and Maru will find a defense eventually, but it was at a huge cost. So many tech-heavy units going down. 20 SCVs. The entire, wave of turrets that he had out the front there, and there are still roaches running around his third base. As Scarlett does have to turn back home, rebuild a little bit. She was up like 160 to 100 supply at one point. Now it's 140 to 110. Maru's economy took hits, but he is about to be back onto 4 bases. A very exciting moment if you're a Scarlett or a Shopify Rebellion fan, but I think just not quite. Dare I say, just not quite enough in the end? And 30 SCVs going down. It's a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong. It's a crap ton of damage. If there's anyone that can absorb damage like that and come out on the other side looking A-okay, it's probably Maru, right? And he's so good playing himself back into games from a deficit or from a negative position, all that kind of stuff. I'm a little scared of how slowly Scarlett is able to remax here, right? Like, she just isn't rebuilding quickly at all. Her supply is just stuck around 140, 150. And these BCs just going to come in and be annoying. They will get pushed back, right? You obviously force them to teleport away. But again, it's just no actual kills. And you're not meant to get kills against, though. But again, that's some terror and efficiency. And Maru is really right back up there in the work account as well. The fact that Skull wasn't able to really relocate any of those bases, right? The third didn't have to lift. The fourth was morphing into a planetary in location during that previous attack. Not actually stopping the bases mining. Definitely seems as though it's been part of the problem as to why she's not been able to slow down Maru properly despite the 30 SCVs killed. If all 4 of those CCs are just sat there cranking out SCVs, well, 4 SCVs every 20 seconds, you're getting 12 a minute, 30 workers killed. That's back in a couple minutes, especially after Maru comes through and kills off a few drones himself. So the worker game, not really problematic. Hellions moving over, a few more drones going down. Roaches coming in as well. I mean, it's just nice to see those drones going down if you're cheering for Maru here, because every drone that's dying is just him catching up that little bit in eco. And it's just those little things that are going to help him to draw himself back into this game. Corruptors, up to a decent count now. The problem is it is just Roach Ravager on the ground, and typically this army composition that Scarlett's working with, it's very good on that initial bust, but it isn't good on the follow-up, especially if you've not teched up. And you can see she is kind of making her way to melee upgrades and bane lanes in an infestation pit. But we are a long, long way off any of those being in the game, and that's definitely going to be one of the concerning parts of this. I see those BCs trying to fire up a storm against the Corruptors, and they will get a couple kills for free with the Yamatos before teleporting back home to safety. Did one of those BCs go down? I know one of them teleported away a bit sooner. Maybe it just teleported somewhere else. I didn't think it went down, but maybe I just missaw with the chaos of those animations going on. A few Cyclones continue to build. There has been a lot of Cyclone production now. Once you've got that, baseline tank count, etc., Cyclones are really good here, because what the Cyclones can do is the Cyclones can just take on the, they can really just take on the Roach Ravager and kite a lot, right? You can get a lot of damage done before you ever take damage yourself, so the efficiency they provide is great, and they're also a really good little something against the Corruptors as well. You can see Thor production starting from Maru. He's probably also afraid of the potential of that hive finishing and going into Great Aspire. He maybe doesn't know how far behind or how far off that hive actually is. It's very late here for Scarlett. So making some Thors prepared for what could be a brutal transition, because I think realistically that's pretty much one of the only things he would die to in the immediate future. VC is going to continue to get chased around to that right-hand side, being shot at by the Corruptors again. Corruptors are doing a good job of catching up with those BCs and minimizing the damage they get done, at least, if nothing else. Tanks moving through, and this is going to be the larger push that Scarlett now has to go and deal with. Out to the far left, Roaches, Ravagers, Corruptors all coming into this. Here we go, looking to bust this down. And Scarlett clean this up. Her supply is staying pretty stable at maxed out. Of course, she's got a lot of units in reproduction already. A big problem for Scarlett, she's got a lot of Corruptors that also kind of dead weight in these fights once the BCs aren't around. And so Maru will have just about enough left on the ground. Scarlett trying to make some Banes. There are 70 Lings on the way here. I mean, in theory, if you can just get us around, those Lings are going to be very effective. There's the BCs that the Corruptors have to be, you know, looking to deal with, of course. 8 drones going down. Scarlett's been under constant pressure with those attacks, right? She has always been losing drones on counterattacks and run-bys, etc. Definitely something else that has been costly for her, and one of the reasons Maru's been able to maintain a pretty reasonable position in the game overall. Cyclone's locking onto a few more of those Lings. Looks as though Scarlett might just about clean those up in the end, but here comes another attack. Maru is just expanded through the top side, so it's very easy for him to push this top side to the left side of Scarlett, which is why Scarlett might want to start thinking about the bottom right bases. Problem is, bottom right bases are kind of far away with no creep in front of them right now, and the Cyclones are doing a good job of maintaining some presence around there just to make sure that Scarlett isn't expanding, at least not for free. So they're just around kind of checking in, keeping an eye on it, so... It's going to see our Thors pushing through. Scarlett is going to try and fight on in. The Banes are going to roll. I mean, all they can connect on really is the Thors. As again, there's just not really that much on the ground for Scarlett. Right, coming out of this, there's a few Banes still rolling around. They don't even know what to hit. They're just kind of rolling here, there, and everywhere. And his supply is definitely struggling. These Roaches and Ravagers will not trade well against the Thors. Thors chunk away at their health bars. Now, the BCs have just teleported, right? So now the BCs are actually going to go down to the Corruptors, but not if they turn away from the fight. This is your chance to actually get Battlecruiser kills. Don't mess up on that. You do not want these to stick around if you can deny them. Scarlett obviously knows that, just in the moment made a misclick. Is going to get this one before another Yamato goes off, but the other two got to fly away there, making their way home without issue. And again, maybe a bit of a missed opportunity for Scarlett, because instead of chasing that one down, maybe she could have chased Battlecruiser kill number 2 in that moment. So seeing our Ravagers collecting back up together, Lings as well. And do you see those Giraffes swinging into Maru's favor a little bit? Scarlett's economy definitely hurting as well. Only 67 drones, all of that harassment over time is added up. At some point it gets to a stage where you really do just struggle to replace those workers that you've been losing throughout this, right? It really does get to that stage. And when you start struggling for that, then you're struggling for, you know, to replace the economy. You don't have the economy that hurts elsewhere. It's that gruesome snowball effect that typically kind of just drags the Zerg down and slowly wins Terrans these games. It's 19 minutes deep. And, well, 19 minutes deep, and we do have Maru definitely seeming as though he's in control. This game was so scary, that first attack, where we were kind of screaming and shouting for Scarlett. A couple neural parasites going down. This might not be a bad fight with the neurals, especially if you can't actually get rid of those infestors. Bane's showing up now. Obviously, you've still got to deal with the fact that these infestors are going to lose their neurals. Yeah, it's going to be enough for Maru. I had hope for half a moment. GG's, and it is going to be Maru taking the... Alright, game number 2 of Maru versus Scarlett as we kick this off. Put the sound back on. It's just eerily quiet. Alright, so, getting back into this, so that's kind of a cool announcement. I thought Shopify was already announced. Am I dumb? I saw Shopify on the broadcast for DreamHack at some point. Obviously, weekly prize pools being $800 each is ridiculous. Like, that's actually just insane money for a weekly cup. And in all regions, like, every region gets $800 a week? It's freaking crazy. That's actually freaking crazy. I already knew about the map thing return because I was asked about it a while back. So I assumed that something was going to be done with it. But yeah, the weekly prize pool thing is really cool. I think the weekly cup's actually one of the best things that ever happened to StarCraft. As you can probably tell by how many people tune in to watch just... You know, it's just a weekly cup, yet so many people tune in to watch it. It's pretty sick. Hell yeah. Man, Shopify is like the best thing that happened in StarCraft 2 in a long time. Probably since the ESL Pro Tour, huh? like it feels like we got the ESL Pro Tour and then we got Shopify. Or kind of, I guess, the same time. Like, what isn't Shopify involved with right now? Like, they support TSL? They support ESL Pro Tour? Well, I guess next is the Shopify WardiTV crossover, guys. That's the logical next step, right? They've been building themselves up. They started with TSL, then the ESL Pro Tour. The only place up from here is to partner with WardiTV. Clearly. Alright, jokes aside, let's get into this TVZ, guys, as we do go. With Maru hunting down an Overlord that just ain't there. That Overlord will not die because it's just not there. So that's nice. And this game's eerily quiet without background music. It really is just so... It's so loud how quiet it is, you know? Does this mean Blizzard won't make any new maps? Just rotate between the ones we've had? That Blizzard have never made new maps, man. Blizzard have not made new maps in a long time. It's always been the Team Liquid map contest. Blizzard just added them to the... Blizzard just sponsored it and added it to the... added them to the ladder. They decided which ones went on ladder, but they never made them. So basically it means the maps are gonna... Or the map system, or how they choose maps, is gonna return to how it was before. So basically the... You know, basically the map system is just gonna be as it used to be. Which is an exciting announcement, because a lot of people just thought we were doomed with the same maps forever. Right? So, yeah, it's cool. It's going to be seen Hellions and Marines at the front here, poking around. Again, just going to be going for this little Hellion Marine poking his Maru, and then he's got an Armory, so he goes into Hellbats, and it's a Fusion Core behind it. So going for a very similar style as to what we saw in the last game. It's fun. It's a bit different. It definitely isn't something I'm super familiar with. Hellbat's moving up and just going to be going in. Marines helping out as well. A couple of these Queens going down. I mean, this is a push that Skull just does not seem prepared for. She's making a ton of Lings, but Lings are not the best in this scenario, especially if you're losing your Queens. The Queens are such a good backbone for the rest of the defense against Hellbats. But the Queens already down before the Lings get here. This game might just be over. It's as simple as that. This push might just be too strong, and it is. Maru is going to pick up a 2-0 for Team NV.